Howto, at your service. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make a very simple design of fingerless glove, just like these. So the weather's getting colder and darker out there. Winter gear is going to be needed soon. And right now, I'm making another pair of these for a different and unrelated costume project. And I thought it would be an excellent opportunity to show you how to make your own. The first thing I'll say is that sewing can be very daunting for someone who's never done it before, but this is actually a perfect project to get you started because it really is simple and you can't go wrong, and it doesn't take very long and it doesn't need much fabric, so it isn't expensive. So give it a try. Okay, so the first step is to gather the correct materials. Now basically you can use absolutely anything you want for this. These are just a quite cheap wool broadcloth, so there's no stretch in that at all, but it does tend to work a little bit better if fabric is stretchy. Now the fabric I'm making the second pair out of is stretchy, so I should be okay. The second thing you have to do is you have to work out the dimensions. Now there isn't really a pattern as such with these. They are literally just a rectangle, so the rectangle's then sewn into a tube and you leave a gap for your thumb so that it pulls over your hand. So in order to work out what size it's going to be, the easiest method to do that is to get any random scrap of fabric and to wrap it round your hand just underneath your thumb, like that, and then to take the length off of that. Obviously if you want it to be looser, make it a little bit bigger, and if you want it to be tight, if it's stretchy, then pull it tight. Now for the second set that I'm making out of these, I actually want it to be deliberately loose because it's going to be worn with a winter costume that's going to have quite a lot of bulk, and it needs to pull over the sleeve of something that's quite thick with braces on top of. So these are done deliberately looser. So once you've done that, you've got to decide on the length. Now typically they'll start about there, or they'll get in the way of your fingers a bit, and then it can go as far up your arm as you want it, although if you go too far up your arm you will have to taper it wider towards the top, otherwise it won't reach all the way up. But these ones that I'm making are actually going to be shorter than those, so I don't need to worry about that. They're just going to be square. So I've measured from there to where I want them to end, which is about here, and that's my dimension for the length, and again the dimension for the width is that. So once you've done that, cut an oversized square from the fabric that you want and make sure that there's enough room to hem it, obviously, and then hem it. So that's where I'm up to on this one. I could have hemmed it on a sewing machine. I do have one of those, it's just over there. The only reason I didn't was because it's a small project. It's quite quick to hand sew it and it looks better anyway. But I haven't actually finished. I've only done half the stitching around the rest of it. But yeah, you can do that on a sewing machine if you want. And then the next step is to wrap it around your hand and to decide how much you want in front of your thumb and how much you want in behind your thumb. So you're essentially going to want to measure the distance from here to where your thumb starts, where you want it to start, and then sew up that little bit just like that. So I've actually done that on this one. It ended up being 1.5 inches. So I've sewn that up and I've done 2 big loops of thread at each end so that it doesn't come undone, it's quite strong. And you get the idea of how that's going to work. And then once you've done that, you can pull it over your hand and you can decide where the best place for the next sewing to start, which is what I've done here, and then continue. Now I deliberately didn't finish sewing this because I want to show you what stitch I'm using. Of course you can just go round in a continuous loop, but what tends to happen then is one side will pull over the other side and it will end up not being completely flat. You can see it better on this. This is actually a similar stitch to what's used on a baseball. I have no idea what it's called, but I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen for you. So the way that's done is I've gone round in my loop like there and there, and then I've brought the thread up, not through the fabric, just between the fabric, and it's come up from behind on this side, so it's pulled up that way. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to put it down on that side of the fabric and then bring it through the gap. And then I'm going to do the same, repeat on the other side, down through the fabric and up through the gap. And then you'll see that you'll form the stitch pattern. I should be using white thread really for the tutorial so you can see what I'm doing, but never mind. Again, I'll put up the name of the stitch type and then you can look it up on the internet and find a better video of how to do it if you're not sure. Down through the fabric and up through the middle, and then down through the fabric on the other side and up through the middle. And then I'll just finish this off quickly and I'll probably speed it up on camera. Alright, so that's as far as I'm going to go, because I'm going to leave a little bit unsewn, just like I did on this one, because it looks nice. And it also helps to hide the fact that my rectangles weren't quite rectangles, so it doesn't accurately meet up at the end. But I'll do what I did on the other end, and I'll finish it off by sewing a loop. So what I'm essentially going to do is go through both, and then do that several times. So that it's nice and strong, and then I'll take it through to the back and finish it off on the back where you can't see the thread. There we go, all done. And unlike the other set, this is wide enough for my tunic sleeve to fit inside, which is exactly what I wanted. Now all I have to do is make the other one. And one last thing to mention, I've tried a few slightly different things this time with this video. Firstly, I think it's the first sewing video I've done, so if you like that content, let me know, and again, if you don't like that content, also let me know, because then I won't do more. And also, on my previous tutorial videos where you get the classic downward view of the bench, because the tripod is obviously in front of me and not behind me where I'm stood, otherwise it would be in the way, then you're seeing it like you're looking across the bench, so you're seeing everything upside down. What I'm going to try and do in this video is see if I can flip the video clip upside down in the editor so that you're seeing it how you're supposed to see it, how you would see it if you were doing it yourself. So it might make the video a little bit easier to follow. Let me know in the comments if you think that works. And now that you've seen that, if you make a pair of these, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.